story. I said, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because this is not what was released to the public. And so I told them that, and then that same news team drove up to Minnesota to interview Jim Rothstein, and they told him the same thing, that the father said, oh, yeah, that's exactly what happened, and that's what we told the police, but the police told a different story and told us to keep quiet.
Wow.
So, you see, we had even a further eyewitness that actually saw Johnny being stuffed in the car, and like I said, he described him being shot with something like a stun gun.
Have you talked to the family?
I haven't gone up there yet, no.
Okay.
And the reason we waited is because it might be better if it was handled in more of an official capacity than just me.
Yeah, but who can you get to do that? Because it seems like the police don't want to cooperate.
I'm not going to involve the police. We'll get it through some other manner.
Through a professional.
We'll get an affidavit or something signed.
Yeah.
No, I don't run anything through the police.
No. Is John DeCamp aware of this new witness?
I did tell him about it on the phone.
Boy.
Shortly after it happened. And see, that's very important. That's, you know, just the fact that there was the eyewitness. And,
well, to Rothstein or somebody of Rothstein's experience or my experience should go interview these people, take statements.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
and that's what we're kind of waiting for, because I don't want, I didn't want a bunch of people charging up there scaring the guy off. And now that this whole thing has erupted with Gannon, I don't want them to become so afraid again that they won't talk.
No, you're right. That's either Rothstein or I should go interview these people.
And see, that's why I didn't go charging over there.
Good idea.
I just thought, no, it's probably better if it's handled in a different manner.
You've got to have a professional do it.
Oh, I agree. And one that's prepared to take an affidavit right on the spot.
Absolutely.
Now, Noreen, let's say you interview, or Ted goes and interviews the father, and the father says all the things that happened, and wherever the son is, and I don't know, but let's say the son is also
interviewed. It would be best if we found the son, because he's the one that saw it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Rothstein and I should both go interview him together.
Well, that'd be all right. But what would it mean to the case? It would open up a lawsuit that you could go after the town, right?
If they would be willing to go on record and say that they told the police such and such, and the police told a different story, that, I'm not an attorney, but I would think that would be grounds for a lawsuit.
Absolutely.
I would think so, sure.
Because that would be falsifying, information, and based on that, the FBI would not come into the case because they said we had no crime. And the police chief kept saying, well, we have no crime because nobody saw your boy being stuffed into a car.
And yet, it was the police.
And, if that police chief was still alive, upon hearing that the other day, I'm not so sure I wouldn't have gone right to his house.
Is he dead now?
Yeah, he died of a heart attack.
Well, they probably killed him.
I don't know.
How long ago did he die?
About 2.5 years.
Oh, so it's not that long ago.
No. And when he died, it was just kind of funny because the newspaper called me the afternoon afterwards and wanted me to make a statement. And told me he was dead. And I said, no comment. Well, then they called back a little later and they wanted me to make a statement, and I said, no comment.
Good for you.
And then they finally called back a third time. And they said, well, we would like you to make a statement about his death. And I said, what part about no comment do you not understand?
Yeah, right. Excellent.
And you know what the reporter said?
What?
He said, well, Dan, he said, we can't get anybody to say anything nice about him either.
Oh, God.
That's what he said. And I said, well, I guess you have to consider the source. And I wouldn't say anything else.
Good.
Because, if I did and began to launch out with the truth, all they would remember is, oh, Noreen Gosh spoke ill of the dead. They would not have believed what I had to say.
Really?
Noreen, what was the TV news crew? Where were they from?
From Waterloo, Iowa. It was Dave Roberts from KWWL, and they did a very successful show. They did the interviews here, They talked about Gannon. They talked to this boy's father. They drove up to Minnesota to see Rothstein.
Oh.
And then they ran it. And then they told Jim that they were going to, this was after the story ran, that they were going to do some kind of a follow-up piece. And I don't know what that will be.
Did anybody nationally pick up on it?
In where?
Nationally.
Not yet.
What about the Des Moines area?
I'm thinking, though, that if they do another story, and I guess this young reporter's boss was really behind him and very supportive,
Good.
Especially when they found out that there had been a little bit of a fib, shall we say?
A little bit of a fib?
I'm trying to be generous.
I know you are. That's, my gosh.
And see, that's the thing right now, and for a very long time now.
Yeah.
As these things are coming out,
Boy.
yes, it upsets me. It upsets me a lot.
Yeah.
But I can't afford to allow it to blow my circuits.
True. You can't.
This many years into it,
Yep.
it's detrimental to a person's health.
Yeah, I agree.
And I can't afford to have my blood pressure being shooting over the top over every little thing that comes in. It just has to be handled. And then we figure out a plan. But I really try to remain extremely calm, and that's for my welfare too, because I wouldn't have lasted this long had I just gone berserk over every little thing.
It's true.
I can be more effective when I'm calm.
You know, you would think that somebody besides the Waterloo TV station would do a story on this.
Well, Des Moines is not wanting to do much more. A lot of times they will respond and do something after it's been done in another area. And that's been just the last couple of years on the story.
Is Jim Gannon still working with the Des Moines Register?
Oh, no, he moved on from Des Moines, and I think he moved to either New York or Washington and was doing something in the media there. I'm not sure what it was, but he went on to greener pastures.
That was his reward for putting clamps on your story.
See, one of the things that I've been getting a lot of emails about, there's a local talk show here, Jan Michelson show.
Huh.
And I've been on his show, and it goes pretty wide range through the Iowa area. A lot of people listen to it. And a lot of people have been writing me, telling me that they had contacted the station, asking Jan to put me on the air about this Gannon issue. And people are getting very frustrated because he won't do it, or he hasn't done it. He hasn't even called me to do it. And the listeners in this Iowa area who have been listening to your show, Alex, have called the local guy here and says, well, it's everywhere else. Why aren't you putting her on the air? But they haven't.
Yeah.
And so then they're speculating that maybe he was told not to, or I'm not sure what the reason is.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
But I will say this. When I was on his show, after my book came out, he was very complimentary about the book, and he said that he and his wife both read it like in 2 nights. Each one of them had the book for 1 night.
Yeah.
And while we were on the air, and it was live, he said, well, lady, he said, you really have a lot of gall.
Really?
He said, you accused Barney Frank and Craig Spence of all those things that they supposedly did in Washington, D.C. Where do you get off doing that? And I said, every single bit of it was a proven fact.
Yeah, right.
And I said,
exactly.
if you went back and researched the 92 articles in the Washington Times from the year 1988 through 1989, I said, you would have the same information I do. And I said, I guess maybe you didn't do your homework before this interview.
Yeah, right. Oh,
And
Who was this?
Jan Michelson.
Oh, this was Jan.
Yeah. And he laughed. He says, well, I knew you'd have an answer for that. But he and I get along fine, you know, and I told him, I said, you know, anything I put in that book is what we've researched and we found to be true. I said, I didn't put in things that had not already been established.